The mining ship Horizon's Edge floated quietly in the dark space near the edge of the Kepler system. Its metal hull looked old and worn, with visible patches and repairs. Inside, Captain Jake Morrison watched the main screen with careful eyes. He knew the truth about their ship, but today was all about playing pretend. "Captain, we're picking up something on the sensors," said Lisa Ortiz, his second in command. She pressed a few buttons on her console, making them look clunky and slow, on purpose. Jake nodded and walked over to her station. "What do we have?" "3 ships approaching. They're different. Not like anything in our database," Lisa replied, keeping her voice unsure. The truth was, they knew exactly what was coming. The Vaxians had been sending signals for weeks, and Earth had been watching them for much longer. But today, humans had to act surprised. "Should we power up weapons?" asked Tom, the young weapons officer. "No," Jake said quickly. "We're just miners. Let's not give them the wrong idea." The Vaxian ships came into view. They were beautiful, made of what looked like crystal and light. Each ship was 3 times bigger than the Horizon's Edge, glowing with soft blue energy. "They're hailing us," Lisa announced. "Put them on screen," Jake ordered, straightening his worn uniform. The main screen flickered, then showed a Vaxian commander. The alien was tall, with skin that looked like polished stone. Its eyes glowed with inner light, and when it spoke, the voice sounded like music. "Unknown vessel, identify yourselves," the Vaxian said. Jake stepped forward. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth mining ship Horizon's Edge. We're just out here looking for minerals. We mean no harm." The Vaxian tilted its head. "Earth? We have not heard of your species. You travel far from home in such a simple vessel." Jake forced a nervous laugh. "Well, it gets us where we need to go. Mostly." Behind him, Lisa secretly adjusted the ship's power output to look weaker. The Horizon's Edge could destroy all 3 Vaxian ships in seconds, but that wasn't the plan. "Your technology appears primitive," the Vaxian continued. "How do you survive the dangers of space?" "Carefully," Jake replied with a smile. "And with a lot of duct tape." The Vaxian's glowing eyes narrowed. "We are the Vaxian Empire. This sector belongs to us. Why are you here?" Jake spread his hands in a peaceful gesture. "We didn't know anyone. Claim this area. We're just looking for iron and copper. If we're trespassing, we'll leave right away." The Vaxian commander spoke to someone off-screen in their musical language. After a moment, it turned back to Jake. "Your species is new to us. The Galactic Council must be informed. You will follow us to the nearest station for processing." Jake pretended to think about it. "The Galactic Council? We've never heard of it. Is it far?" 2 light years. Our ships will guide you." "Our engines aren't very fast," Jake said, scratching his head. "It might take us a while." The Vaxian looked, almost sorry for them. "We will adjust our speed to match yours. The Council will be interested in meeting such a young species." As the communication ended, Jake's crew relaxed slightly. "Well, that went perfectly," Lisa whispered. Jake nodded. "Remember, everyone, we're simple miners from a backward planet. Keep the power levels low and don't let them scan anything important." The engineer, Sarah, called from her station. "Captain, should I make the engine sputter a bit? Maybe leak some plasma?" "Good thinking. Make it look like we're barely holding together." As they followed the Vaxian ships, Jake allowed himself a small smile. The Vaxians thought they'd found a primitive species to add to their empire. They had no idea that humans had been watching them for centuries, that Earth's true technology could bend reality itself. The game had begun, and humans were very good at playing dumb. After all, it was easier to protect the galaxy when nobody knew you were its guardian. Ambassador Ryan Cooper stood in front of his bathroom mirror, practicing his nervous smile. He had to look just right, not too confident, not too scared. Today was the day humanity would join the Galactic Council, and everything had to be perfect. His ship, Terra's Hope, was designed to look 50 years behind current Earth technology. The walls were plain metal instead of the living smart material, used on real Earth ships. The computers had actual buttons and screens instead of neural interfaces. Even his clothes were simple cotton instead of the adaptive nano fabric everyone wore back home. "Ambassador, we're approaching the council station," the pilot's voice came through an old-style speaker. Ryan took a deep breath. "Thank you, I'll be right there." The council station was huge, a spinning wheel of light and crystal floating in space. Ships from 100 different species were docked around it, each one showing off advanced technology. Tara's Hope looked like a child's toy next to them. As they docked, Ryan reminded his small crew of their roles. "Remember, we're amazed by everything. Act impressed, ask lots of questions, and don't touch anything unless they offer." The airlock opened, and Ryan stepped onto the station. The gravity felt different, lighter than Earth's. A group of aliens waited to greet him. The tall blue ones were Zorlax, known for their telepathic abilities. The floating balls of light were ethereals, beings of pure energy. And the group of connected creatures moving as one, that was the hive. "Welcome, human," said the lead Zorlax. Its voice echoed in Ryan's mind as well as his ears. "I am Counselor Vex. We are pleased to meet Earth's representative." Ryan bowed awkwardly. "Thank you for having us. This station is incredible." As they walked through the gleaming corridors, Ryan made sure to stare at everything with wide eyes. He asked simple questions about the technology, pretending not to understand most of the answers. "Your species is quite young," Counselor Vex observed. "Only recently achieving faster-than-light travel, yes?" "That's right," Ryan nodded. "We're still learning. Everything here is so advanced compared to what we have." They entered the council chamber, a vast room with floating platforms instead of chairs. Representatives from dozens of species were already there, all watching the newcomer with curiosity. "Please take your place," Vex gestured to a platform. Ryan stepped on carefully, wobbling a bit as it adjusted to his weight. Perfect. It made him look unsteady and unfamiliar with the technology. The council leader, a being that looked like living starlight, spoke. "Humans of Earth, you stand before the Galactic Council. We offer you provisional membership, with the protection and guidance that comes with it." "Protection?" Ryan asked, trying to sound worried. "The galaxy can be dangerous. For young species," the leader explained. "There are pirates, hostile empires, and natural disasters. As a council member, you will have our support." "We would be very grateful," Ryan said, bowing again. "We have much to learn." An ethereal floated forward. "Your technology is primitive, but you show promise. We will share knowledge to help you advance." "That's very generous," Ryan replied. Inside, he was laughing. Earth's technology was so far beyond anything here they could barely comprehend it. The meeting continued with discussions of trade agreements and territorial boundaries. Ryan agreed to everything, making Earth seem eager and naive. When they offered to place a monitoring station in Earth's solar system for protection, he accepted gratefully. Finally, as the meeting ended, Counselor Vex approached him privately. "Your species reminds me of my own when we were young, full of potential, but vulnerable. Do not worry, the council will keep you safe." Ryan smiled. "Thank you. We are lucky to have found such helpful friends." Back on Tara's Hope, Ryan's crew dropped their act. "They bought it completely," his aide said. Ryan nodded. "They see what they expect to see, a young species taking its first steps. Meanwhile, our real fleet stays hidden, our true power remains secret." He looked out at the stars. "Let them think they're protecting us. It makes our job of protecting them much easier." Deep beneath the red surface of Mars, Dr. Amy Sullivan walked through a corridor that shouldn't exist. The walls were made of a material that shifted colors with her thoughts, and the air smelled like spring rain even though they were miles underground. "Status report," she said to the air. A gentle voice responded from everywhere and nowhere. "Quantum reality manipulation at 98% efficiency. Dimensional phase shifting ready for testing. All systems normal, Dr. Sullivan." Amy smiled. Above them, on the surface, was a fake research station that looked like humans were still struggling with basic fusion power. But down here, They were bending the laws of physics like children playing with clay. The council observers will arrive in 3 hours, Professor Daniel Martinez said, joining her. He held a tablet that displayed false data about failed experiments. I've prepared another report showing how we can't get the fusion reactor stable. Good. Amy nodded. Remember, we're frustrated scientists working with limited resources. They entered the main lab, where a team of researchers worked on projects that would terrify the Galactic Council. One scientist was literally reaching through solid matter to adjust a circuit. Another was viewing alternate timelines on a screen that showed different versions of reality. Everyone listen up, Amy called out. Council inspection in 3 hours, you know the drill. The advanced equipment began to fold away into hidden compartments. Holographic displays switched to show primitive computer screens. The scientist, reaching through matter, quickly put on regular gloves. I hate these inspections, muttered Dr. Katie Wong, hiding a device that could create miniature black holes. It's like pretending we don't know how to walk. It's necessary, Daniel reminded her. If they knew what we could really do. 3 hours later, Amy was showing 2 Zorlax observers around the fake surface lab. She wore a stained lab coat and had messed up her hair to look overworked. As you can see, we're still having trouble maintaining a stable reaction, she explained, pointing to a deliberately faulty fusion setup. Red warning lights blinked everywhere. The Zorlax observers, tall blue beings with large eyes, looked sympathetic. Perhaps you are attempting too much too quickly, one said. The council could provide advisors to help. That would be wonderful, Amy said, trying to sound desperate. We've been working on this for months with no progress. Behind them, Daniel pretended to have trouble with a basic calculation on an old computer. Dr. Sullivan, I can't get these numbers to work out. Let me see, Amy said, walking over. She pretended to struggle with simple math while the Zorlax watched. Your dedication is admirable, the second observer said. Most species take centuries to master fusion power. Do not be discouraged. Amy nodded gratefully. Thank you. We just want to contribute something useful to the council. As they continued the tour, one of the Zorlax suddenly stopped. What is that? He asked, pointing to a small device on a workbench. Amy's heart skipped a beat. It was a reality anchor, a device that kept their true technology hidden from scans. If the Zorlax examined it closely... Oh, that? Daniel jumped in quickly. That's our coffee maker. It doesn't work very well. He pressed a button and the device sputtered and produced a cup of terrible-looking brown liquid. The Zorlax lost interest immediately. After the observers left, the team gathered in the real lab. That was too close, Katie said. We need to be more careful, Amy agreed. But the deception is working. They still think we're barely able to split atoms. How long do we keep this up? A young researcher asked. Amy looked at the quantum reality manipulator humming quietly in the corner. With it, they could reshape entire star systems. The Galactic Council thought they were protecting Earth, but it was really the other way around. As long as necessary, she said. The galaxy isn't ready to know that humans solved the unified field theory 500 years ago. Let them think. We're children playing with matches. It's safer for everyone that way. The distress call came through all channels at once. Captain Maria Gonzalez sat in her command chair aboard the New Dawn, listening to the panicked voices. This is Council. Convoy 7. We're under attack by Wraith pirates. Multiple ships. Requesting immediate assistance. Maria looked at her bridge crew. They all knew what to do. The New Dawn could destroy the entire pirate fleet in seconds, but that wasn't the plan. Set course to intercept, she ordered. And remember, we're a basic patrol ship with limited capabilities. Yes, Captain, her first officer, Mike Chen, replied with a knowing smile. Reducing engine efficiency to 30%. Weapons powered down to level 2. The New Dawn dropped out of hyperspace near the battle. 3 large council transport ships were surrounded by 6 sleek Wraith vessels. The pirates' ships were black and sharp, firing red energy beams at the transport's shields. This is Earth. Vessel New Dawn, Maria announced. We're here to help. A Vaxian commander appeared on screen, his stone-like face showing surprise. Earth ship? Your vessel is too small to make a difference. You should retreat. We can't just leave you, Maria said, putting worry in her voice. Weapons target the nearest pirate ship. Her weapons officer, Linda Park, fired deliberately weak shots that barely scratched the pirates' shields. The Wraith ship turned toward them, almost laughing at the pathetic attack. Captain, their weapons are charging, Mike reported, making his voice shake slightly. Evasive maneuvers, Maria called out. The New Dawn moved clumsily, like a ship barely able to dodge. A pirate beam grazed their shields, and Linda made the lights flicker dramatically. Shields down to 70%, she announced, though they were actually at 99.9%. The Vaxian commander watched in horror. Earth vessel, you must retreat. You cannot survive this fight. But Maria had a plan. She maneuvered the New Dawn between the pirates and the transports, taking hits that looked devastating but barely touched their true defenses. Captain, I have an idea, Mike said loudly enough for the open channel. If we overload our engines, we might create an electromagnetic pulse. It could disable their weapons temporarily. That could destroy our ship, Maria protested, playing her part perfectly. It's our only chance to save the convoy, Mike insisted. Maria pretended to think hard. Do it. The New Dawn's engines began to glow brighter. In reality, they were using a controlled pulse generator, but to everyone watching, it looked like a desperate suicidal move. Engine overload in 3 and 2, 1. A blue wave of energy burst from the New Dawn. The pirate ship's weapons went dark. Their shields flickered and died. The pulse was precisely calculated to disable the pirates without causing permanent damage. Now, all ships fire, the Vaxian commander ordered. The council ships opened fire on the helpless pirates. Within minutes, the Wraith vessels were disabled and drifting. The New Dawn floated silently, playing dead. Smoke generators created the illusion of heavy damage. Earth vessel, respond, the Vaxian called out. Earth vessel. After a dramatic pause, Maria's voice came through, weak and static-filled. We're still here. Barely. Systems failing. Life support at minimum. You saved us all, the Vaxian said, his voice filled with awe. Your bravery will be remembered. We're sending repair teams immediately. Later in the council chambers, Maria stood in a patched uniform as they awarded her the Medal of Participation, their lowest honor, given to species who tried their best despite limited abilities. The humans showed incredible courage, the council leader announced. Though their technology is primitive, their spirit is strong. Maria bowed humbly. We just did what anyone would do. Back on the New Dawn, her crew laughed quietly. A medal of participation? Linda giggled. If they only knew we could have turned those pirates into space dust with a single shot. Maria smiled. Let them think we're brave fools with outdated ships. It's easier to protect the galaxy when no one's watching you too closely. The Galactic Technology Summit was the biggest event of the year. Every species brought their greatest inventions to show off. Dr. Kevin Brooks stood in the human section, trying not to laugh at the irony. Around him, aliens demonstrated incredible machines. The Zorlax had a device that could move entire planets. The Ethereal showed a star forge that could create new suns. The Vaxians displayed gravity manipulators that could bend space itself. And humans? They brought a food replicator that could barely make a decent sandwich. It's not very good yet, Kevin explained to a group of curious aliens. Sometimes the bread comes out too soggy. We're still working on it. A tall Vaxian scientist looked at the machine with pity. Matter replication is complex. My people took 300 years to perfect it. Do not be discouraged. Thank you, Kevin said, trying to sound grateful. Maybe you could give us some tips? Behind the display table, hidden from view, engineer Ashley Turner monitored the reality anchors. These invisible devices prevented anyone from scanning Earth's true technology. They had to be adjusted constantly, as different aliens tried to study the human inventions. Anchor 7 needs calibration, she whispered into her hidden earpiece. The ethereals are running deep scans again. Kevin nodded slightly and moved to block the ethereal's view while Ashley worked. "Would you like to try some replicated food?" he offered them. "I should warn you, it doesn't taste very good." The ethereals, beings of pure energy, swirled with amusement. "We do not eat solid food, but we appreciate your enthusiasm. Your species shows promise." As the day went on, Kevin gave demonstrations of the faulty replicator. It produced lumpy, mashed potatoes, burnt toast, and something that was supposed to be chocolate but looked like mud. "Oh dear," Kevin said after another failed attempt. "I'm sorry. It usually works better than this." The other species were patient and kind, like adults watching children play with toys. They offered advice, shared basic scientific principles, and promised to send educational materials to Earth. During the summit's main presentation, each species took turns showing their greatest achievement. The Zorlax demonstrated teleportation across star systems. The Hive showed collective consciousness technology. The Ethereals created a miniature universe in a bubble. When it was humanity's turn, Kevin walked to the center stage carrying his malfunctioning replicator. "We're very proud of this," he announced. "It can make food from energy sometimes." He pressed a button. The machine whirred, sparked, and produced a sad-looking apple with a bite already taken out of it. The audience clapped politely. Some species even cheered, encouraging the young humans. "You will improve with time," the council leader said kindly. "We all started somewhere." After the presentations, Kevin met with Ashley in a secure room. "Status report?" he asked, dropping the act. "All reality anchors held," Ashley confirmed. "They have no idea about our true capabilities. The quantum computers, the dimensional drives, the temporal manipulation arrays, all completely hidden." Kevin pulled out a small device from his pocket. It looked like a simple calculator, but it was actually a universe simulator that could predict the outcome of any event with perfect accuracy. "The Zorlax spent 50,000 years developing their teleportation," he said. "We solved it in an afternoon as a high school science project," Ashley nodded. "And their Starforge? We've been using pocket universes as power sources for centuries, but they can't know that." "Why do we keep pretending?" a young technician asked. "We could help them advance faster," Kevin shook his head. "Because power revealed too soon breeds fear and resentment. They need to see us as equals, not as gods. When the time is right, when they're ready, we'll show them the truth." He looked at the faulty replicator, their prop for the show. "Until then, we'll keep making bad sandwiches and accepting their pity. It's a small price to pay for galactic peace." The alarms screamed across every frequency. Commander Brad Nelson stood on the bridge of Earth's defense station, watching the impossible happen. The void wraiths had arrived. These creatures came from another dimension, beings of pure darkness that ate energy itself. They appeared as holes in space surrounded by writhing shadows. Nothing in the known galaxy could stop them. "Commander, we're receiving emergency broadcasts from the Council," his communications officer reported. "They're calling all ships to the Nexus Point for a last stand." Brad nodded grimly. "Send our response. Tell them Earth's fleet will be there." The Galactic Council had gathered every warship they had. Hundreds of vessels from dozens of species formed a defensive line in space. The most advanced weapons in the galaxy pointed at the approaching darkness. The Council leader's voice echoed through all channels. "Today we face extinction. The void wraiths consume everything they touch. Our weapons barely slow them down." Earth's fleet arrived last as planned. 20 old-looking ships joined the formation. To the other species, they looked like antiques, held together with hope and duct tape. "Earth vessels," the Vaxian admiral called out. "Your bravery honors us, but you should withdraw. Your ships cannot survive this battle." Brad responded with fake determination in his voice. "We won't abandon our allies. Earth stands with the Council." The other commanders spoke among themselves, moved by humanity's foolish courage. They believed Earth was committing suicide to buy time for others to escape. The void wraiths attacked like a wave of hungry darkness. Council ships fired their best weapons: antimatter beams, singularity bombs, quantum disruptors. The wraiths absorbed everything, growing larger with each attack. They're feeding on our weapons. A Zorlax captain screamed as his ship was swallowed by shadow. The Earthships moved forward, looking small and fragile against the cosmic horror. Brad gave his orders carefully. All ships, prepare for standard attack pattern. Make it look good. His fleet fired conventional missiles and laser beams, weapons so primitive they made the aliens wince. As expected, the attacks did nothing. The wraiths swept through the Council's lines, consuming ship after ship. Earth vessels, retreat, the Council leader begged. Save yourselves while you can. Negative, Brad replied. We're going to try. Something desperate. We'll overload our reactors and ram them. The aliens watched in horror as Earth's ships accelerated toward certain death. Some commanders saluted. Others turned away, unable to watch the sacrifice. But Brad was watching his hidden displays. Earth's true defense grid was powering up, completely invisible to everyone else. Weapons that could rewrite reality itself, locked onto the wraiths. Sir, the grid is ready, his tactical officer whispered. Waiting for your command. Not yet, Brad said. Let them get closer. We need this to look like a miracle, not a revelation. The wraiths reached the first Earthship, shadows wrapped around it, ready to feed. That's when Brad smiled. Now. In his private command center, fingers danced across controls that shouldn't exist. The true power of Earth began to wake up. The Council members watched their screens in despair. Earth's ships were seconds from destruction. The brave, foolish humans were about to die for nothing. Then the universe changed. Space itself seemed to ripple. The darkness of the void wraiths began to twist and warp. They screamed in frequencies that drove lesser species mad. What's happening? The Council leader gasped. Brad kept his voice confused. I don't know. Our reactors are doing something strange. The readings don't make sense. The truth was, Earth's hidden weapons were unmaking the wraiths at a fundamental level, erasing them from existence. But to everyone watching, it looked like a desperate suicide attack had somehow triggered an impossible reaction. The void wraiths writhed in agony as reality rejected them. One by one, they dissolved into nothing. When the last wraith vanished, silence filled the communication channels. Brad waited, then spoke with fake amazement. Did we win? Captain Emma Watson stood on the bridge of the Starlight Dream, watching the Council ships celebrate their miraculous victory. The other species believed Earth's desperate attack had somehow triggered a reaction that destroyed the void wraiths. They were wrong. Captain, incoming transmission from Earth Command, her communications officer announced. It's time. Emma nodded. After years of pretending, the moment had finally come. All ships prepare to drop the camouflage fields. Authorization code, Phoenix Rising. Across Earth's fleet, officers entered the secret commands. Hidden systems, powered up. Reality anchors shut down. The truth was about to be revealed. Ma'am, President Carter is ready to address the Council, the officer reported. Send the signal, Emma ordered. Let's show them who we really are. The first sign was subtle. Earth's battered-looking ships began to change. Scratches disappeared, dents smoothed out. The metal transformed from dull gray to something that seemed alive, shifting with colors that had no name. The Council members noticed immediately. What's happening to the Earth vessels? The Vaxian admiral asked. Then Earth itself dropped its disguise. The planet had looked normal from space. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. Now it revealed its true form. The entire world was encased in a structure that defied comprehension, a sphere of technology so advanced it looked like magic. Countless weapons platforms emerged from hidden dimensions. Energy shields that could stop supernovas flickered to life. The mining ships scattered throughout the galaxy transformed into dimensional warships, each one capable of destroying star systems. The research stations became reality-warping fortresses. And from subspace, Earth's true fleet emerged. Thousands of vessels that made the Council's best ships look like toys. The Council chambers erupted in chaos. Species that had pitied humans moments ago now trembled in fear. Silence, a voice commanded. It was President John Carter, his image appearing on every screen. He no longer wore simple clothes, but a uniform that seemed to be made of starlight. "For 500 years we have watched over you," Carter said. "We solved the mysteries of the universe generations ago. We can reshape reality, travel through time, create and destroy dimensions." The council leader found his voice. "Why? Why pretend to be primitive? Why let us believe we were protecting you?" Carter smiled gently. "Because we were protecting you. From yourselves, from threats you couldn't comprehend, and from us." Emma watched the alien faces show confusion and fear. She activated her ship's true systems, and suddenly the Starlight Dream revealed technology that shouldn't exist. Weapons that fired beams of pure possibility, shields made of twisted space-time, engines that moved by rewriting location itself. "We learned long ago that power revealed too quickly breeds fear and war," Carter continued. "So we hid. We let you think we were weak while we guided you from the shadows. Every major threat to the galaxy, we stopped them before you knew they existed." "The Void Wraiths?" the Zorlax representative asked. "Barely a nuisance. We've faced far worse. But we needed a crisis to reveal ourselves, something that would unite rather than divide." The council members looked at each other, realizing the truth. Every time they had offered protection, every piece of advice they had given, every moment they had felt superior, it had all been part of humanity's plan. "What happens now?" the ethereal ambassador asked. "Will you rule us?" Carter shook his head. "No. We will continue to guide and protect, but now as equals who know the truth. The galaxy has proven itself worthy of trust." Emma smiled as she watched understanding dawn on alien faces. The game was over. The masks were off. And somehow, instead of fear, she saw respect growing in their eyes. "Welcome to the real galaxy," Carter said, "where humanity doesn't rule from above but walks beside you as friends who simply got there first." President John Carter stood before the Galactic Council, now in a chamber that humans had secretly upgraded overnight. The walls displayed the true history of humanity's involvement in galactic affairs, showing hundreds of crises they had quietly solved. "You saved us from the Nexus plague," the Zorlax representative realized, watching a recording. "We thought it was a natural immunity, but you created the cure," Carter nodded. "And the dark matter storm that threatened the Vaxian homeworld, the mysterious malfunction that stopped the Hive's civil war, the accident that prevented the ethereals from ascending too early and destroying themselves." The council members sat in stunned silence as image after image showed humanity's hidden hand in their survival. Ambassador Ryan Cooper entered the chamber, no longer wearing his simple clothes but a uniform that seemed to bend light around it. "We've been your guardian angels," he explained. "Every species here owes their existence to human intervention at least once." "But why hide?" the Vaxian admiral asked again. "With such power, you could have ruled everything." Carter walked to the center of the chamber. "Let me show you something." He held up a small device and pressed it. Suddenly the room filled with holographic images of ancient human history. Wars, destruction, empires rising and falling. "We learned the hard way," Carter said. "Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times before we understood this truth." Dr. Amy Sullivan joined them, her lab coat replaced by robes that seemed to shift between dimensions. "When we finally unified and reached the stars, we found younger species making our same mistakes. We could have conquered them, but instead, we chose to guide them. The council itself," Carter continued, "was our idea. We subtly influenced your first meetings, guided your laws, helped you form alliances. We wanted you to grow together, to learn cooperation instead of domination." The ethereal ambassador floated forward. "So everything we are, everything we've achieved, is still yours," Carter assured them. "We never controlled you. We just prevented extinction-level mistakes. Your cultures, your achievements, your growth, all genuine." Captain Maria Gonzalez entered with several other human officers. "The pirate attacks, the border disputes, the resource conflicts, we let those happen. Struggle builds strength. We only intervened when species faced total destruction. The council leader stood up. What happens now? Do you reveal yourselves to all species? Carter shook his head. No. Most aren't ready. We'll work with the council, openly now, but to the younger species, we'll remain the lucky humans who somehow survived the void wraiths. And if we tell them? A hive representative asked. You won't, Carter smiled. Because now you understand why the deception was necessary, why it's still necessary for others. Over the next few hours, humans shared select technologies with the council, medical advances, defensive systems, and communication devices. But the reality-bending weapons, the time travel technology, and the dimension-shifting engines remained secret. These gifts come with responsibility, Carter explained. Use them to protect, not to conquer, guide, don't control. That's the price of true advancement. As the meeting ended, the council members filed out, forever changed. They had come believing they were the galaxy's leaders. They left knowing they were still students with humanity as their secret teachers. In the archives, a new section was created. It contained all records of humanity's true history, sealed until the galaxy was ready. The title read, Remember when humans pretended they weren't the most advanced species in the galaxy? Emma Watson stood with President Carter watching the stars. Do you think they'll follow our example? She asked. Carter smiled. They will, because that's what we've been teaching them all along. True power isn't in what you can take, but in what you choose to give. The greatest civilization isn't the one that conquers, but the one that nurtures. And so the guardianship continued, with humanity walking beside their fellow species, no longer hiding but still protecting, still guiding, still choosing wisdom over power.